11 million views. Fuck me. It must have been good. You haven't watched it yet? Why would I deny myself the opportunity to watch this for the first time with you guys? Why would I do that? What are you talking about? Oh. At Black Lives Matter Road. Damn, this is like a documentary.
Yeah, I'll give you my government.
Oh shit, this is like a fucking documentary. Hold on. There you go. Dun, 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 dun. 1.5 times speed. No, we'll get to it. This is the build-up. It sets the pace.
Thank you so much for having us. You're over here, Mr. President. Thank you. Kaylee.
Also, tacky decor. Frankly, the entire White House, tacky decor. Okay? You get me in the White House, you make me president, all brutalist. We're having concrete poured on everything. Okay? Maybe a couple of windows. Maybe. Inside of the place just going to look like a fucking concrete Rubik's Cube when I'm done with it.
Mr. President, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you taking the time.
Good.
And we appreciate your commitment to answer our questions.
Sure.
Really appreciate that.
Sure.
Over the years, I've heard you talk about your adherence to a philosophy called positive thinking. This is the mantra that if you believe something, if you visualize it, then it will happen.
To an extent, I also think in terms of the downside.
Right.
I do. I've been given a lot of credit for positive
I love the
thinking, but I
fucking
also
text
think
scroll.
about downside
Turn
because
subs on? Oh, yeah, here.
only a fool doesn't.
To what extent do you think that that positive thinking mindset is suitable to handling the worst pandemic that we've seen in a century?
I think you have to have a positive outlook. Otherwise, you would have nothing without a positive outlook. I think we've done an incredible job between the ventilators and stopping very infected people from China coming in, meaning putting the ban on China, which frankly nobody wanted me to do, practically nobody, because it was very early in January. Then putting the ban on Europe, not an easy thing to do.
You know what he did in between banning people from China and then banning people from Europe a month later? Nothing. He did nothing in that 1 month period. All the virus was spreading across the planet. He did nothing.
When you put a ban on Europe, that's a big thing. We would have probably lost hundreds of thousands of lives more had I not done that. And all of the experts, every one of them, not one of them wanted to do it. They thought it was too severe. 3 months later, they're all saying, I'm glad you did it.
The criticism of you that is most prominent is about the communication. Is the public health experts saying that it needs to be based in reality? And they're saying that the wishful thinking and the salesmanship is just not suitable at a time when a pandemic has killed 145,000 Americans.
152? 153 now? Are we up to 160? 161? U.S. COVID death counter. Oh, we're at 157. There we go. 157,000 people. Whew. Just a light flu. Nothing to worry about, folks. Yeah, this is one of the reasons. I know I've said this before. This is one of the reasons why people say fascism is a death cult. Why they say fascism is self-destructive and unsustainable. One of the reasons for this is because there are many practical problems associated with running a country that fascism cannot address rationally. They can't do it. Everything has to be stage and theater. Everything has to be public spectacle. Everything has to be around veneration and worship of the national identity of the president, whatever. And as our interviewer just said, Trump's framing everything like a fucking salesman. He can't talk about things he needs to do next. All he can do is defend himself. Has anyone ever seen Trump talk about plans he has for the future or reflect on things he could have done better? At all? All he ever does is talk about what a great job he did and how unfair everyone else is being by not constantly telling him that he did a better job. And that's it. That's the only thing he talks about. Funnily enough, we talk about the difference between Joe Biden and Trump. Does Trump have any 2020 plans? Right now, Trump's plans for re-election, like, here's what I will do if I become president for a second term, just seems to be make America great, and also I'll stop the things that are happening right now that happened under my presidency. I think that's it. Like, he doesn't have like an actual set of plans. Just like, this giant protest wave we're getting. That's all the Democrats' fault. I'll fix that, even though this one happened under my presidency.
And it's that I understand what you're saying, that people need to hear positive thinking, but for the past 5 months, it's been the virus is totally under control. And the cases have been going up and the deaths have been going up.
Look.
But you've been saying it's under control.
Nobody knew what this thing was all about. This has never happened
Ignores
before.
the question.
1917, but it was
Goes back to
totally
defending
different.
himself.
It was a flu in that case, okay? But other than 1917, there's never been anything like this. And by the way, if you watch the fake news on television, they don't even talk about it. But there are 188 other countries right now that are suffering, some proportionately far greater than we are, okay? As bad
Goes
as
back
we
to
are,
defending himself.
Some proportionately greater than we are. Right now, Spain is having a big spike. There are tremendous problems in the world. You look at Moscow, look at what's going on with Moscow, look at Brazil, look at these countries, what's going on.
That's, as the United States of America, that's what we want to be comparing ourselves to when it comes to response to a pandemic. Russia and Brazil. Funnily enough, 2 countries run by friends of Trump. Funnily enough, 2 countries run by fascists. Funny.
This was sent to us by China, one way or the other, and we're never going to forget it. Believe me, we're never going to forget it. And we were beating China at every single point. We were beating them on trade. We were making progress like nobody's ever made progress. They had, before the pandemic, they had the worst year, Jonathan, that they've had in 67 years.
I really wish interviewers would just interrupt him. I really wish they'd be like, you're literally not answering the question. You're like, I asked you this. You're saying this. You're just going off on a tangent. It feels like the strategy of a lot of interviewers is just, no spoilers. It feels like the strategy of a lot of interviewers is to just ask him a simple question and let him run off, and then sort of self-evidently they'll point to him running off as an example of his incompetence. But I don't know if that works. I guess it'd be bad optics to interrupt the president. Who gives a fuck at this point? Dude's letting hundreds of thousands of Americans die.
Tariffs and everything else I did. We were taking in billions of dollars. I was giving some of it to the farmers. The farmers were doing well because they were targeting the farmers. I was targeting China. We were doing good. Then all of a sudden the game changed.
The fuck is he talking about?
I closed down the greatest economy ever in history. And then I closed it down, and now we're opening it. And we say, by the way, by closing it down, we saved millions of lives. If we would have gone to herd, and
he argued against closing it down. What was the date on that pivot? He argued against. He said it was a terrible idea. He made fun of the Democratic governors who were shutting stuff down.
Knew very little about the disease. If we would have gone herd, we would have lost millions of people. Millions of people. One person's too much. We're at 140,000 people. One person is too much. We're at 140. We would have lost millions of people. And those people that really understand it.
I really like he added that the one person is too much, because in his interview with the Fox News guy, I forget his name right now, in his interview with that guy, he was like, it's just a couple, it's just not that much, Some kids, they get the sniffles. Could have been more. So now, Chris Wallace, yeah. So now he has to lay in, one person is too much. Like somebody told him to say that the next time he did an interview on this.
They really understand it. They said it's incredible the job that we've done. And again, I bring it up.
Who says that?
The ban banning China from coming in.
But it was already in here by the time. It was already here. Like by the time you banned China, it came in through Europe.
Nobody knew the extent. Nobody knew how contagious it was.
But the question is, Mr. President,
maybe China knew.
By June, we knew things were bad. And the last time I was with you was the day before your Tulsa rally in the Oval, and
no.
You were saying big,
when
huge
6,000
crowd,
people showed
indoors.
up.
By the way, these people, they listen to you.
Excuse me, Jonathan.
Yeah.
We had a 19,000 seat stadium. First of all, we had 12,000 people, not 6,000, which you reported and other people.
He didn't even bring it up. He didn't even bring up the 6,000 number. He said, hey, like he hears it in his head like a bull sing, right? Like, hey, it wasn't 6,000, it was 12,000. Except it was 6,000. It was 6,000 people. That is the number of people who were there.
But you couldn't even get in. It was like an armed camp.
Why would you have wanted that?
They had 120 Black Lives Matter people.
I understand, but why
there.
would you have wanted a huge
Tulsa,
crowd?
Excuse me, wait. And Tulsa, well, because that area was a very good area at the time. It was an area that was pretty much over. After.
What is he talking about?
A month later, it started going up. That's a month later. But Tulsa was a very good. Oklahoma was doing very well as a state. It was almost free. It spiked a month later, month and a half, 2 months later, but it was a good area. We had a tremendous crowd. We had tremendous.
Oh, fuck me, dude. Wait, I wonder. Hold on. When was the Tulsa rally again? Not data. Yeah. June 20th. And Oklahoma. Wait, hold on. State COVID tracker. Do we have that state by state? Here we go. Oklahoma. Oklahoma. Here we go. Got. Okay, Oklahoma. Looks like it started spiking right around here. Right around July 4th. Funny that. 2 weeks after the Tulsa rally, which is the incubation period for COVID-19. Literally exactly 2 weeks. Hey, you know who died because of that Tulsa rally? Herman Cain. That rally where Herman Cain died, that Tulsa rally, that one right there, the one where an old man went up into the stadiums with no mask and got into a coughing contest with a bunch of other people who had no masks, that guy? How many particles could we spread amongst ourselves, folks? And they learned, and now he's fucking dead. That Oklahoma Tulsa rally?
This response, you couldn't even, it was like an armed camp. You couldn't even get through. You couldn't get anybody in.
But
we had 12,000 people. It was incorrectly reported.
Jesus
the other thing we had that
Christ.
nobody wants to talk about, so Fox broadcast it. It was the highest rating in the history of Fox television Saturday night.
Complete.
It was the highest rating.
Mr. President,
It's insane how much of an egomaniac he is. That's it. You know what's more pathetic than the fact that Trump is brain dead and the only thing he cares about is his own ego? The people who simp for him. I actually cannot fathom being like some poor, like fucking Rust Belt Republican and watching this behavior and thinking, yep, that's my president. I actually can't believe there are people who think Trump gives a fuck about them. It's actually insane to me. I don't get it.
Wait a minute, you're saying something.
Yeah.
That speech was the highest rated speech in the history of Fox television on Saturday night. And nobody says that.
I think you misunderstand me. I'm not criticizing your ability to draw a crowd. Are you kidding me? I've covered you for 5 years. You draw massive crowds, you get huge ratings. I'm asking about the public health.
And I canceled another one. I had to cancel it.
Right.
We're going to have a great crowd in New Hampshire, and I canceled it for the same reason.
But here's the question. I've covered you for a long time. I've gone to your rallies. I've talked to your people. They love you. They listen to you. They listen to every word you say. They hang on your every word. They don't listen to me or the media or Fauci. They think we're fake news. They want to get their advice from you. And so when they hear you say everything's under control, don't worry about wearing masks, I mean, these are people, many of them are older people,
What's
Mr.
your
President.
definition of control? Yeah, under the
It's giving them a false sense of
right
security.
now, I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is. But that doesn't mean...
Oh, yeah, there we go. One is too many, but it is what it is.
We aren't doing everything we can. It's under control as much as you can control it. This is a horrible plague that beset us.
You really think this is as much as we can control? 1,000 deaths a day?
I'd like to know if somebody, first of all,
Pivot.
we have done a great job. We've gotten the governors everything
Pivot.
they needed. They didn't do their job. Many of them didn't, and some of them did. Someday we'll sit down. We'll talk about the successful ones, the good ones. Look at that smile. The good ones and the bad.
What?
We had good and bad. And we had a lot in the middle. But we had some incredible governors. I could tell you right now who the great ones are and who the not-so-great ones are. But the governors
What
do
is he
it.
talking
We
about?
gave them massive amounts of material.
What do you want to bet one of his not-so-great governors would be the governor of New York, the massive state that completely controlled COVID-19 through strict regulation? What do you think? He'd be like, New York, I don't know. Democrats, Cuomo, I don't know.
Mr. President, you changed your message this week in terms of you cancelled the Jacksonville Convention. You said wear a mask. You're saying, that it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's not something you like to say. I know you said that. The big question...
Not get worse like the original flow. You understand that. But
Well, I hope not. It's 1,000.
Now, if you look, Arizona's going down.
If I could just finish my question.
Texas is going down, and Florida's going down.
The question is, are you going to, even some of your own aides wonder whether you would stick to that message until Election Day, whether in a week or two you won't say, right, we've got to reopen again, we can't do this stuff anymore, that you'll get bored of talking about the virus and go back to that sort of cheerleading?
I never get bored. I never get bored of talking about this. It's too big a thing. And again...
So will you stick to that message?
By China.
Remember, his aides had to specifically have branches of the government and government agencies rewrite briefing documents to Trump to make them shorter and to make them mention him more often, because that was the only way he would read them, or he would get frustrated and stop reading them. He's like me, dude, except I'm not the president. That's maybe that's my goal as a YouTuber, to get so big that I can do to theory what Trump did to government briefings, okay? So yeah, send Das Kapital back, shorter, mention me more, That's what I'm talking about. Maybe Trump has the right idea in this one. Maybe I'm just mad that I'm not president. I can't do that. I'd do it though. Well, you'll see. Keep an eye out, okay? Vosh edition of Das Kapital coming out sometime soon, all right?
It should have been stopped by China, and it wasn't.
Make that shit a picture book.
Here. And I think I'm very consistent. No, this is a very serious thing. Do you think we have 140,000 people at this moment? This is a very, very serious situation. And what you have to do is handle it the best it can be handled. And again, I'm working with the governors. I got them tremendous amounts of equipment that they would have never gotten. Jonathan, they wouldn't have equipment now if I didn't get it.
He can't talk about anything that isn't him. He's incapable. It's like a fucking Romani curse or something. Like his great grandfather bought a fucking golf course somewhere in Sylvania, and forever therefore his family line was cursed. They can only ever talk about themselves.
Can you commit by what date that every American will have access to the same day testing that you get here in the White House?
Well, we have great testing. We're doing, and
by what
other
date?
people do. Let me explain the testing. We have tested more people than any other country, than all of Europe put together times 2. We have tested more people than anybody ever thought of. India has 1.4 billion people. They've done 11 million tests. We've done 55. It'll be close to 60 million tests. And, there are those that say, you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
Oh, just read the manuals, read the books. Read the
What
books.
manuals?
Read the books.
What books?
What testing does?
No, I'm
is
sorry,
It shows, wait a minute,
who
John.
said-
Let me explain. What testing does? It shows cases. It shows where there may be cases. Other countries test. You know when they test? They test when somebody's sick. That's when they test. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong. Nobody's done it like we've done it. We've gotten absolutely no credit for it. But we've come up with so many different tests. The only thing that we have now is some people have.
I probably don't have to do this every time he said, but everything he's saying so far has been a lie. I hope I don't need to tell you guys that other countries are testing more per capita, that other countries have tested more, that they don't just test when people get sick. I hope I don't have to yeah, okay. As long as you know.
Have to wait longer than we'd like them to.
It's a big problem.
We want point to point. We want to have a 5-minute to a 15-minute test.
When do you
we
think?
have, and like many others,
Every
and from what I
American.
understand, we're close to 50% where it's point to point test. We are making thousands of instruments, thousands of tests right now, tens of thousands that can be distributed to various parts of the country.
Completely
But we have
irrelevant.
to understand, and we've even sent some of them to other countries where they had a big problem. Jonathan, almost 50%.
Do any of you remember what the original question was? I do. Do you guys remember? This is what Trump does. He's very good at this. Nobody pivots like this motherfucker does. It's insane. He's so much better at it. Line me up. This is where all the conservatives I debate get their shit from. They are just imperfect copies of Trump's ability to pivot. Yeah, by what date will we have same day testing? That's it. That was the question.
In fact, I think the number might be over, is immediate testing. The other's tough. You take a test, you have to send it to a laboratory. Let's say that takes a day. Let's say it's a day.
It's difficult.
You know, so it's 3 or 4 or
understand.
5 days. There's nothing you do about that.
But when do you think we'll have it for
I
everyone?
think that you
What
will
day?
have that relatively soon. I mean, again,
What does that mean?
you already have half.
Yeah.
I would much rather get back to you because I don't
Okay.
want to have you
That's
right
fine.
in 1 month.
That's
I
fine.
didn't make it. I missed it by a day,
I
and
get
it's
it.
a headline.
Mr. President, I want to talk about the federal intervention.
Excuse me, one thing I would say about
Yeah.
testing. Because we test so much, we show cases. So we show many, many cases. We show tremendous number of. I know you're smiling when I say that.
No,
but
but
I'm
come on. I mean, I've heard you say this,
Other
but
countries don't test like we do,
you
so
know-
they don't show cases.
just a couple of points on that. I wasn't going to continue on the testing, but you said it. So we're testing so much because it's spread so far in America.
We're
And
testing
when you
so much because we had the ability to test.
Okay,
Because we came up with
but
tests.
South Korea-
Jonathan, we didn't even have a test. When I
Can
took
you
over, we
imagine
didn't
having
even
to
have a test.
interview Trump?
Now, in
Holy
all fairness,
shit.
Why would you have a
there
test?
was no test
The virus
for
didn't
this.
exist. How would you have a
Excuse me, I was
test?
going to say,
Okay.
there was no test for this new. We didn't have a test because there was no test.
course.
In a very short order, we got one test, we got another test.
It
we
was
got
broken,
another.
the first
Many of those tests are now obsolete because we've, it's called science, and all of a sudden something's better. But because we tested so many people, 55, 60 million people very soon, we get cases. You test, some kid has even just a little runny nose, it's a case. And then you report many cases. So we look like we have more cases than massive countries like China, which, by the way, doesn't report, as you know.
And now we don't either. Now neither of us report. That's great. Ever since Trump arbitrarily decided to have the COVID-19 numbers redirected from the CDC to the Department of Health and Human Services, which is controlled by a Trump appointee, suddenly our curve rounded off a little bit.
In
No,
China's
the
figures.
point is, because we are so much better at testing than any other country in the world, we show more cases.
The figure I look at is death. And death is going up now.
Okay,
And it's 1,000 a day.
If you look at death.
Yeah, it's going
let's
up
look.
again.
Let's look.
Daily death.
Take a look at some of these
This.
charts.
I'd love to.
We're going to look.
Let's look.
And if you look at death,
Yeah. It's started to go up
here's
again.
one. Well, right here, the United States is lowest in numerous categories. We're lower than the world.
Lower than
We're
the
lower
world?
than
What does that mean?
Europe.
In what?
Look.
In what?
Take a look. Right here. Here's case death.
Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases. I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad.
Well,
Much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc.
you can't do that. You have
Why
to go.
can't I do that?
You have to go by. You have to go by where. Look, here is the
You
United.
can't do that. That's cheating. You can't do that. That's not fair. Notice how, by the way, Trump is simultaneously saying the reason we seem to have so many cases is because we overtest, but then he's relying on data of deaths per cases tested, aka he is simultaneously complaining that the overpreponderance of testing in this country is beneficial and detrimental to his administration.
States, you have to go by the cases. The cases.
Why
are
not
there.
as a proportion of
when
population?
We have somebody. What it says is when you have somebody that has where there's a case.
Oh, okay.
The people that live from those cases.
It's surely a relevant statistic to say if the US has X population and X percentage of death of that population versus
you
South
have to
Korea.
go by the cases.
Well, look at South Korea, for example. 51 million population, 300 deaths. It's like, it's crazy
you don't
compared to
know
other
that.
countries. I do. It's like,
What?
You don't know that.
you think they're faking their statistics, South Korea?
I
An
won't get
advanced
into
country?
that because I have
Yeah, I
a very
won't.
good relationship
Yeah.
with the country.
What
You
the
don't know that.
fuck?
And they have spikes. Look, here's
Germany.
What the fuck with the? I won't get into it. I don't want to cause an international incident. What the fuck are you talking about?
Low,
Here's
9,000?
one. Here's one right here. United States. You take
Anyway.
the number of cases. Now look, we're last, meaning we're first.
Last, I don't know
We
what
have
we're
the
first
best.
in. As a what?
Take a look.
Okay.
Again, it's
I just-
cases.
Okay.
And we have cases because
mean,
of the testing.
1,000 Americans are dying a day, but I understand on cases it's different.
No, but you're not reporting it correctly.
Wait, can I see what that?
Okay.
Can I read it?
And we have cases
To the camera?
because of the testing.
1,000 Americans are dying a day, but
Wait.
First,
last, I don't know
we
what
What is that? God, I can't.
we're first in.
No, Trump. No.
You take
Anyway.
the number of cases.
Okay.
Now look, we're last, meaning we're
What does it say?
first.
Last, I don't know
We
what
have
we're
the
first.
I'm so curious. I can't. It's the figures are just too blurry. Go back like 3 minutes. I don't care that much.
As a what?
Take a look.
Okay.
Again, it's
I just-
cases.
Okay.
And we have cases because of the testing.
1,000 Americans are dying a day, but I understand on cases it's different.
No, but you're not reporting it correctly, Jonathan.
I think I am, but
If you take a look at this other chart, look, this is our testing, I believe. This is the testing, yeah.
yeah, we do more tests.
No, wait a minute. Well, don't we get credit for that? And because we do more
No,
tests,
you
we
complain
have more
about there being
cases.
you can't complain about us over testing and then threaten to cut testing, and at Tulsa say you cut testing to make your administration look better, and then to recoup on your ego, then use stats of deaths by tested cases. That makes nobody cares. Deaths per capita.
In other words, we test more. We have. Now take a look. The top one, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. The top, Jonathan.
If hospital rates were going down and deaths were going down, I'd say terrific. You deserve to be praised for
Well, they
testing,
don't
but they're
even-
all going
you know,
up.
they very rarely talk-
60,000 Americans are in
If
hospital.
you watch the
1,000
news
dying
or
a
read
day.
the papers, they usually talk about new cases, new cases, new cases.
I'm talking about death.
Well, you look at
going
death.
up.
Death is way down from where it was.
And
It's 1,000 a
Death.
day. It was
No, it's-
2,500. It went down to 500. Now it's going up
Death,
again.
excuse me, where it was is much higher than where it is right now.
It went down and it went up
spiked,
again.
But now it's going down again. It's
going
going
up.
down in Arizona. It's going down in Florida.
Nationally,
it's
it's
going
going up.
down in Texas. Take a look at this. These are the tests.
It's going down in Florida?
Yeah, it's going. It leveled out and it's going down. That's my report as of yesterday.
Anyway, Mr. President, if I could change...
As of
subject.
It is going down
yesterday.
in Arizona.
As of yesterday. Okay, sure. Hey, they just told me, Give me that data. Here we go. New deaths total. Can we get it like per day? Now and yesterday? Okay, but I want like a chart. I feel like this should be easy to find. Give me that. Give me the deaths. Give me the deaths. Where's Florida? Here we go. There's Florida. Oh. Oh, the worst day of deaths Florida has ever had was yesterday. Interesting. I believe this was filmed on July 23rd or something. Okay, then let's test the truthfulness of this claim on July 23rd. July 23rd, that's oh, wow. On July 23rd, that was the highest amount of deaths Florida had ever had, and it's only gone up since then. Oh, I can't. Here you go. Whoop. There you go. Right here. Got 185 yesterday, and on the 23rd, we have, I think that's 120. No, it's 122, which is higher than any previous death wave, going all the way back to the beginning of the pandemic. Does anyone else think it's a little weird he can just lie like that? A little wacky. I couldn't get away with that shit in university. Why the fuck does he get to get away with it in the Oval Office? Jeez. Squad W.
Arizona it is. Texas has big problems.
And it spiked, and it's now going down in Florida. It's evened out and going down in Florida.
I'll have to see those figures.
But you have to look at this. This is the number of tests compared to the rest of the world.
I don't deny your figures. You've done more tests by far than the rest of the world. I don't deny that.
Because we've done more tests, we have more cases.
You
can take
more
it back. Check it out.
Mr. President, different subject. It's been widely...
So remember, guys, it is true that testing more can reveal more cases, even though per capita there are European countries that have tested more and had far fewer cases than America. And America per capita has far more cases than most other countries. But deaths are unaffected. You see, when you die of COVID-19, it doesn't matter if you were tested or not. You still have to have a reason for your death. You still have a cause of death declared by a doctor. So the fact that we still have proportionally extremely high death rates has nothing to do with any amount of testing our country has done.
Reported that the US has intelligence indicating that Russia paid bounties offered to pay bounties to Taliban fighters to kill American soldiers. You had a phone call with Vladimir Putin on July 23rd. Did you bring up this issue?
No, that was a phone call to discuss other things, and frankly, that's an issue that many people said was fake news.
Who said it was fake news?
I think a lot of people. If you look at some of the wonderful folks from the Bush administration, some of them, not any friends of mine, were saying that it's a fake issue. But a lot of people said it's a fake issue.
Do you think that's legit, by the way? Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this has been well corroborated, the idea that these bounties were being paid out by Russia. Why wouldn't it be? Russia's a geopolitical enemy of the United States. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like our intelligence agencies have declared, like, why wouldn't they? Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we had a call talking about nuclear proliferation, which is a very big subject, where they would like to do something, and so would I. We discussed numerous things. We did not discuss that, no.
And you've never discussed it with him.
Jimmy Dore says this is fake news. That's good evidence that it's not fake news. That's actually evidence that it's a good thing. Jimmy Dore is the lowest IQ fucking hack on the politics game like presently, and the only reason that I haven't done content on Jimmy Dore is because I have yet to construct the fucking hazmat suit necessary for me to fucking suit up and walk in and deal and avoid the lethal cancer that you would otherwise contract from being even fucking close to his content.
I have never discussed it with him. No. I would. I'd have no problem with it.
But you don't believe the intelligence. It's because you don't believe the intelligence. That's why.
Everything. It's interesting. Nobody ever brings up China. They always bring Russia.
What the fuck?
If we can do something with Russia in terms of nuclear proliferation, which is a very big problem, bigger problem than global warming, a much bigger problem than global warming in terms of the real world, that would be a great thing. But it never reached my desk. You know why? Because they didn't think it was intelligence. They didn't think it was real.
It was in your written brief, though, apparently.
They didn't think it was worthy of... I wouldn't mind. If it reached my desk, I would have done something about it.
He's lying.
It never reached my desk because...
Do you read your written brief?
I do. I read a lot.
Really?
I read a lot. They like to say I don't read. I read a lot.
Your daily intelligence brief?
I comprehend extraordinarily well, probably better than anybody that you've interviewed in a long time. I read a lot. I spend a lot of time with... at meetings.
Have you ever talked to a person like this in high school? This reminds me, there are people like this, like Oh, yeah? Huh. Yeah, I could run over there. I'm the fastest runner you've ever seen. No, I don't really want to run right now. Yeah, I worked out pretty hard yesterday, but I can run really, really, really fast. Yeah. Oh, yeah, my girlfriend? Got a few. They don't know about each other. Well, two of them are in different schools. And the one that I've got here, kind of on the down low, don't really want to talk about it with her. Like, don't make it out or public or anything like that, you know. Yeah, you wouldn't know them. It's not a big deal. Oh, oh man, dude. Wow. Dude, that's a sick meal you got there. What? How much you spend on that one at the cafeteria? You know, I used to be able to put back 2, 3 whole large Domino's pizzas in one sitting. You know, I still can too. I just got to watch the waistline. Oh, I could. Yeah, I could, but I won't. This is like, it's like every nobody is friends with this person in real life, of course, but Trump is a billionaire. So you kind of like by default get friends like that.
Usually it's once a day or at least 2 or 3 times a week intelligence.
Because this was apparently
talking about India, talking about with the problems with China, talking about so many different elements of the world. The world is a very angry place. If you look all over the world.
Yeah, it's a place where Russia will put bounties on American soldiers.
Soldiers were killed in India with China fighting over the border. It's been raging for many, many decades. And they've been fighting and back and forth. I have so many briefings on so many different countries, but this one didn't reach my desk.
The reason I say this is even if you don't believe this particular piece of intelligence, and there is dispute, no doubt there is dispute in the intelligence community about it, your former, John Nicholson, former head of forces in Afghanistan, said, and this is when he was working for you, that Russia is supplying weapons to the Taliban. Isn't that enough to challenge Putin over the killings of US soldiers?
Well, we supplied weapons when they were fighting Russia, too. You know, when they were fighting...
Yeah. And Russia didn't like it when we did that. What? Yeah, that was during the Cold War. And the president, the premier of the Soviet Union at the time, was in fact opposed to it. What is it? What is he talking? Oh, well, it's not a big deal. You know, we've all given money to this is stupid lib shit. Doesn't really matter. Nah, fuck you, dude. Russia is one of the biggest geopolitical enemies of us and of socialism worldwide, okay? There was nothing Putin would like more than to wring his fucking bony hands around your throat and choke you to death while watching you look up to him, desperately attempting to lick the sweat off his nose and praise him for being the fucking last remnant of USSR socialism left on the planet, okay? No, it is not lib shit to be concerned with despots across the planet working to destroy us and destroy the world, okay? That's not just because the DNC cares about something does not mean it's necessarily bad. When Biden says he'll commit $2 trillion or whatever to fight climate change, do you then immediately go, oh, well, that's lib shit. Climate change? What does addressing climate change have to do with the material conditions of the working class? Shut the fuck up. Jesus fucking Christ. I am so fucking tired of all this is the Jimmy Dore, you a Jimmy Dore fan? These are all the dumb fucks whose only political alignment is being opposed to the Democratic Party, and that's it. That's the only thing in their tiny vacuous head. The inside of their skull is a fucking DVD pause menu screen where the little fucking logo bounces and you're just waiting for it to hit the corner, and whenever it hits the corner, you get an original thought, and you open your mouth and you say, that's Russia? That's lib shit. No. Putin is a fascist. He's currently cracking down on every conceivable political, social, and economic right on the people who live within this country. He's more intelligent than virtually any other world leaders operating on a global stage, and he has been funding far-right movements across the planet for decades now. He is a serious threat not only to us, but also to socialism, because every single fucking time we get a far-right uprising in a place like Poland, or in a place like Hungary, or a place like Brazil, Putin is, in some capacity, related to that because he benefits from more far-right proliferation across the planet, and he benefits from you for ignoring it as an issue. Okay? So shut the fuck up. All right? Please shut the fuck up. Okay? Stop. Pelosi said Putin interfered in our election, so any criticisms on Russia are DNC libs. Shut the fuck up.
Taliban went in Afghanistan.
It's a different era.
Well, it's a different. I'm just saying, yes.
But does that? How does that
I'm
affect?
just saying we did that too.
But how does that?
I don't know. I didn't ask Nicholson about that. He was there for a long time. Didn't have great success because he was there before me, and then ultimately I made a change.
But you surely heard that, right? I mean, it's well known in the intelligence community that they're arming the Taliban, Russia.
I don't know. When you say arming, is
Supplying
the Taliban
weapons.
paying or they?
Russia is supplying weapons and money to the Taliban.
I have heard that, but it's never it's never reached my desk.
I mean, he said it on the record when he was in.
Hey, Russia doesn't want anything to do with Afghanistan. Let me just tell you about Russia. Russia used to be a thing called the Soviet Union. Because of Afghanistan, they went bankrupt. They became Russia, just so you do understand, okay?
What?
The last thing that Russia wants to do is get too much involved with Afghanistan. They tried that once. It didn't work out too well.
Last question on this subject.
The reason they spent a fuck ton of money in Afghanistan is because they invaded it and we funded the terrorist groups that fought back against them. And this time, we invaded it and they're funding the terrorist groups fighting against us. Do you see? Do you see the parallel? You see, Russia's doing the thing we did that we won that geopolitical engagement. Technically not an invasion. Yeah, okay. Well, we did. He's totally just repeating what Putin told him about this. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, he fucking. I don't think that Trump gets his marching orders from Putin or any dumb shit like that. I just think he's so fucking stupid and ego-driven. He just looks for other big boys that he can pretend are his father, and he'll just sort of repeat talking points he gets from them. He does this with everything he hears. Everything out of his mouth is something said within the past 2 days at him. Afghanistan won the Cold War. Listen, Afghanistan survived the Cold War. I don't know if Afghanistan has won anything. Your boy Biden? What is this?
Hey, what's up? Can I get a number 15 Burger King full lettuce? You guys don't sell that.
Thank you. Your boy Biden? Yeah, here's our quick ad break where we look at dumb shit people linked.
You all know, and by the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
Oh, shit. Biden's calling you out, black people. By fucking Sleepy Joe has awoken, and he's looking at your community. He's saying there's not enough diversity. Get on it. Maybe he heard of the Nick Cannon drama, and he was like, man, come on. Those black people gotta get up with the times. Now he's woke scolding all of you. Stay woke, people. Listen, Biden is hysterical. I actually think Biden will be a funnier president than Trump. See, here's the difference. Biden is an ineffectual, dawdling, senile dipshit, okay? But this is... Trump also is, but Trump is fucking evil. This whole... this is insane. This, if you're watching this interview with Trump and you think there's any comparable... to any extent... The difference is, Trump is legitimately brain broken. He can't think of anything other than ego shit himself. Vosh, Putin is brutal to leftists. Oh, well, the kinds of people who like Putin would say that anarchists are liberals, so to them this would be counter-revolutionary. And funnily enough, the kinds of people in Russia who would call anarchists liberals are probably working under the imperialist wing of Putin's government.
And by the way, we're largely out of Afghanistan, as you probably...
Neither are funny. The capitalist state is not a game. Nah, I reject that. Horrible things can be funny too. If you can't find humor in stuff like Biden's relentless gaffing, then you might as well just eat a bullet. Because what is there for you in life? Okay? What is there left for you? in this hell world, okay, on the eve of this planet's destruction, okay, you might as well be able to take a little bit of joy.
Probably not.
Well, wanted to ask you about that. The U.S. troop level in
Don't kill yourself. You are all valuable and have great value as individuals, okay? I was just being macabre.
Afghanistan right now is roughly the same as it was when
No,
you...
you're wrong. No.
Mr. President, I'm sorry. We have to do...
Okay, are you ready?
No,
We'll be down in a very short, it's already planned.
Well, that's a different
Let me
question.
explain. We'll be down in a very short period of time to 8,000. Then we're going to be down to 4,000. We're negotiating right now. We've been there for 19 years.
I know.
19 years.
But if you just let me finish my
We'll
question.
be getting out.
I understand. Look, when you came in, it was 8,800. You boosted to 14,000, and now you're back down to 8,500.
We're now.
My question to
we'll be
you-
at 4,000. I'll give
When?
you the exact. Very soon. Very
I'll
soon.
give
What
you
will
the
be
exact.
number? Very soon?
Very
4,000?
soon.
Very soon, yeah.
Like how soon?
I don't want to tell you that.
I don't want to tell.
wanna
I'll give
tell
you the
Big
exact,
news.
but I don't want
What
to
is
tell
that?
you very
That is
soon.
Going down to
big
4,000,
news.
isn't it?
No, I've always said.
Well, what about election day?
We will get largely out.
On election day, how many American troops will be in Afghanistan?
Probably anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000.
That's almost as many as when you came into office.
No, it's not. We had-
8,000
We
you
had
came
much
in.
more. We had a lot of people over there, too.
8,800
A lot of
came in
people.
troops.
And we did a good job. We wiped out ISIS.
Have you
Let me
thought
just
about
tell
going down to
Let me
zero?
just tell you what you don't say. We took out in Syria, we took out ISIS. We 100% of the caliphate. When I took
Wait, how much did America... Wait. ISIS isn't in fucking Afghanistan. What the fuck is he talking about? We fought ISIS alongside Kurdish forces in Iraq and Syria. Wait, how much? Wait, ISIS in... Were there like... There were some? ISIS attack an Afghanistani prison. Yeah, ISIS has made a comeback. Yeah, regaining strength in Iraq and Syria. What about just in Afghanistan? ISIS claim. I'm just seeing this attack on the prison. The Taliban is in Afghanistan? Well, sure, but he said ISIS. I didn't deny the Taliban is in Afghanistan. Do you think Trump knows the difference between the Taliban and ISIS? I'm literally just seeing this like one attack on the prison. Here's the height of their territory. IS territorial losses between January 2015 and... Okay, so this was around their height. Okay. Yeah, we have Iraq. Here, look at how... Oh my god, they were all over Syria like a fucking spider web. Jesus Christ. This is adjacent to Turkey. Yeah, like a tumor. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, so Iran, is any of this Afghanistan? I'm sorry, my Middle East map. So there was Baghdad right there. Yeah, no, not at all. Iran's big. It's all the way on the other side. Okay, just making sure. All right, that's kind of what I thought. All right, just making sure. Yeah, Iran big. I think a lot of people don't appreciate that. Look at that. It's like Saudi Arabia sized. I read a lot of stuff on Iran, like during the Soleimani crisis. I read a lot of stuff in Iran and the potential of like a U.S. military action there, which was never like very high, but I was interested. And I read a bunch of reports saying that Iran is like conceivably one of the most naturally fortified countries on Earth. That it's massive and mountainous, with military bases like buried into the rock all over the place. Like invading and holding Iran would be like insane, like worse than Vietnam. I mean, good for them. Yeah, it's big. Wow. Where's that? Hold on. Iran in America. Size. There we go. Yeah, give me that little map comparison thing. There we go. Damn. Look, it's like 2 Texai. The plural for Texas is Texai. I feel like when we think of Middle Eastern countries, we tend to think of them all as really, really small, you know? Because Israel, of course, is very small, and that's the country we know most about in the Middle East. I'm doxing anyone who lives in the Middle East right now. Sorry. Yeah, I think people tend to think of it all as like really, really like small, but yeah. Jordan, Israel, Lebanon, Syria, they're all pretty small. But Iran, Saudi Arabia. Iran's bigger than fucking Pakistan. Anyway, okay, sorry. Just confirming, yeah. I'm sure ISIS engage in action in Afghanistan, but they're not like, they didn't have like occupied territory there.
Took over Obama, it was totally...
What about going down to zero?
Let me just tell you what you don't say. We took out in Syria, we took out ISIS. We 100% of the caliphate. When I took over Obama, it was totally rampant. ISIS was all over the place. We took them out, we captured them, we killed them. 100%, not 99%. Right. I wanted to get out at 99. Right. Everyone said, oh, please, would you stay? I stayed. 99% was good, but 100% of the caliphate. We took out Soleimani. We took out...
Wait, what is this about? He was talking about the number of troops in Afghanistan. What is he talking about? Also, there was no caliphate. They wanted to build a caliphate. Correct? There wasn't a caliph of ISIS. They didn't like there was? Is that true? Caliph. I learned so much every time I watch a Trump interview. It was Abu. Will you guys make fun of me if I pronounce this name wrong? Is it really my fault? Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi? Leader of the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant from 2014 until his death. I'll rip this guy, I guess. How was he killed? He killed himself and 2 children by detonating a suicide vest during the Berisha raid conducted by the U.S. And damn, bitch way to go. Whew. Bitch made. Suicide before capture, but also taking children out? Yikes. Confirmed his death and named Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurashi as his replacement. How are you doing? In an American prison camp in Iraq in 2004. All right, well, good luck to catching this guy, I guess. I don't know. He's probably a pretty bad guy. I feel like the nice thing about ISIS, I think as leftists, we can get behind this. The nice thing about leftists, no, Soleimani has nothing to do with any of this. But the nice thing about ISIS for leftists is that there's none of the moral ambiguity that comes with like the Taliban or Al-Qaeda, you know? Because at least those countries were like, you know, were funded by the US and we trained and, you know, they build up and they fight geopolitical interests and what have you. And they're still bad, of course, but there's more complexities to it. ISIS is just a death cult. So it's very nice and unambiguous. It's nice to be able to, with the traditional jingoism of an American idiot, just go, yeah, fuck ISIS, with no other conceivable, you know, qualification. Yeah. Some nice jingoism. Ben Shapiro is live and taking calls.
Grandkids because of Trump? Weird. I didn't hear Andrew Cuomo's name
Weird.
anywhere in there.
Yes.
Phil Murphy from
briefly, probably not for long, but briefly, we have more viewers than Ben Shapiro. How are the calls doing?
Jersey. I didn't hear his name. New Jersey. So I'm sorry. The narrative that Donald Trump is the one who blew this, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Meanwhile, the social media.
All right, you're not baiting me. Guys, the thing about these call-in shows for very popular figures is that you have to wait for hours. We can't do it right now. That's something that I'd have to do off stream. Majority Report is smaller than Ben Shapiro, and Majority Report, you have to call in for hours. Oh, it's a premiere, not live. Oh, I didn't even see that. It's not even a live. It's just premiere. Okay. No. Okay. Okay. Chill out.
Daddy. We took out people that
Daddy.
nobody thought possible. Al-Baghdadi was the biggest terrorist of them all. They couldn't find him. I took him out. Soleimani, even bigger. I took him out.
I don't know if Soleimani was kind of a terror. I mean, listen, if Soleimani was a terrorist, then I would like to bring out the fucking crew roster at the CIA, okay? And we'll go down a list, and I'll tell you when we stop finding terrorists, okay?
I've done things that no other president's done. None, I mean, fortunately, not too many. They should have never been in the Middle East. The decision to go to the Middle East and get into the Middle East
Holy shit, Fosh, bad take. Wait, what's the bad take? I don't get it. I don't know what you people want.
was the single biggest mistake made in the history of our country. That's my opinion.
You told Fox News recently that you couldn't say whether you'd accept the results of the 2020 election.
Oh, yeah.
What does that actually look like as the sitting president? I mean, it's unprecedented. What would that actually look
Hillary
like?
Clinton never accepted him.
She
I mean,
conceded
went
on.
totally-
She conceded
still
on.
doesn't accept him, and she got
That's an
beaten
important
very
point.
easily.
That's an important point. She conceded on election night. Now she grumbled about it and said all sorts of
grumbled. She
Okay,
wrote books
fine.
about it.
She wrote books.
Don't use the word grumbled.
Fine, but
she wrote books about
So
it.
will
That's
you
fine, but
grumble
I
and
just
write
being
books?
I get it. I get it.
306 to 223.
I'm
That's
not
a lot.
disputing you beat Hillary Clinton.
That's a lot.
Listen, what I'm asking is you'll be the sitting president in the White House. What does that look like? Not
I'll
accepting.
tell you what it looks like.
Are you litigating?
Let me tell you what it looks like.
Okay.
So we have a new phenomena. It's called mail-in voting.
This new thing the Democrats invented to defeat me. Mail-in for brand new. No country has ever done this.
Where you send where a governor. It's
been here since the Civil War.
In terms of the kind of millions and millions of ballots, they've never.
It'll be
like
bigger this year because of the pandemic.
Bigger, not bigger, massively bigger.
Yeah, because of the
So they're
pandemic.
gonna
That's
send
bigger.
Tens of millions of ballots to California, all over the place. Who's going to get them? I have a friend lives in Westchester
They
County.
send applications, not that.
His son passed away. He had a beautiful, wonderful son, young man, passed away 7 years ago. He called me. He said, "I just got a ballot
Probably an
from my
application.
son Robert.
Probably
He
an-
died 7 years ago."
So again, yeah, he's right. It's an application. You get the letter sent to you so you can apply to vote, not the actual fucking vote ballot. It's different things.
Somebody got a ballot for a dog. Somebody got a ballot for something else. You got millions of ballots.
Nobody got a ballot for a dog. That has not happened. That is a complete lie. Nobody has ever gotten that.
Going, nobody even knows where they're going. You look at some of the corruption having to do with universal mail-in voting. Absentee voting is okay. You have to apply. You have to go through a process.
You have to apply for mail-in.
Absentee
It's the
voting
same
is
thing.
good. Look,
Look,
they're
let's do
sending
concrete.
out-
Let's do concrete.
Jonathan, they're sending out
Applications.
governors
Download them off the
millions of ballots.
No, they're not.
There
It's
is-
applications. You can get them
There
off the
is
internet.
no way you can go through a mail-in vote without massive cheating.
I honestly don't understand this topic with
Go
you.
ahead.
The Republican Party has an extremely well-funded vote-by-mail program.
Notice that he pivoted again, by the way. Trump was supposed to answer what it would look like for him as a sitting president to not accept the results of the election. And unfortunately, the interviewer has been led astray on this. I really want Trump to just say he'll do a coup. I really fucking want Trump to just admit to or move away from that point.
program. Your campaign puts out emails telling people to vote by mail.
Correct.
Your daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, she did robocalls in California saying it's safe and secure, mail-in voting.
Let me tell you.
The Republican
we have
won.
no choice.
That was an all-mail-in race.
Let me tell you. You ready?
Yeah.
We have no choice because right now we have many court cases that we're waiting. We have one filed in Western Pennsylvania. We have many court cases where we're trying to end it. We went through World War I. You went to the polls, you voted. We
What?
went through World War II.
What
you
are we-
went to the polls, you
You've had
voted.
mail-in voting
And
since-
now-
World War I and World War II weren't happening domestically in this country, and you could mail in vote in both World War I and World War II.
Because of the China virus, we're supposed to stay home, send millions of ballots all over the country, millions and millions. You know, you could have a case where this election won't be decided on the evening of November 3rd.
Absolutely.
This election could
What's
be
wrong with that?
decided 2 months later.
It won't be 2 months, but what's wrong with the proper
It
mailing
could be
count?
decided many months later.
Have you discussed
You know
with-
why? Because lots of things will happen during that period of time, especially when you have tight margins. Lots of things can happen. There's never been anything like this when you try. Now, of course, right now we have to live with it, but we're challenging it in many courts.
You're gonna
as you know,
litigate.
all over the country.
Mr. President, the other day a reporter asked you about Ghislaine Maxwell. You said, quote, "I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well, whatever it is." Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a
Well, first
person
of all,
well?
I don't know that, but I do know.
Oh, fuck you, dude. Okay, the interviewer better press down on that. Nobody could have known. Nobody knew who Ghislaine Maxwell was. Nobody told me. This was an unknown variable. It came out later.
She has. She's been arrested for that. You know
Her
that.
friend or boyfriend
Epstein.
was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, do you know that
Oh,
she's
so you're
guilty?
saying you hope she doesn't die in jail? Is that what you mean by wish her well?
Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm
Notice how he won't say Epstein.
not looking bad for anybody. And they took that and
mean, she's a
made it
child
such,
alleged child
such
sex
a
trafficker.
big deal. But all it is her boyfriend died. He died in jail. Was he killed? Was it suicide? I do. I wish her well.
You know what my personal theory on this is? When he said I wish her well, that was him saying that if she doesn't squeal, he won't kill her. That's my personal interpretation on this one. I wish you well, as in I hope you make the right decision, and you indicate that you're not going to squeal on the many accounts you have of you watching me rape children. Some of which have actually gone to court. I mean, it's not like it's a conspiracy that Trump has raped kids. That's not like those are in court documents. Like, it's not even. I don't have. It's not very secret.
Let's move to Portland.
Wait, really? Wait, seriously? Do you guys not? Wait, do you? Okay, hold on. Lawsuit charges. Yeah. A civil suit against Donald Trump alleging he raped a 13-year-old girl was dismissed in California in May, refiled, and dropped again in November 2016. Epstein. Copy. Sexually and physically abused the then 13-year-old plaintiff and forced her to engage in various perverted and depraved sex acts, including being forced to manually stimulate Donald Trump with the use of her hand upon defendant Trump's erect penis until he reached sexual orgasm, forced to engage in unnatural lesbian sex act. It's funny phrasing. With her fellow minor and sex slave Maria Doe, age 12, for the sexual enjoyment of Donald Trump, underage sex parties, promising her a money and modeling career. Have you guys seriously not read over this? This is like the tame stuff in the deposition. They go into detail. They dropped the case because the girl received a fuck ton of death threats, by the way. She was terrified out of After zipping up his pants, defendant Trump physically pushed both minors away while angrily berating them for the poor quality of their sexual performance. I mean, it's pretty explicit stuff. Yeah. She was scheduled to appear at a press conference on the 2nd of November 2016, but didn't show up, asserting that threats to her life kept her away. She reportedly dropped the lawsuit again on the 4th of November 2016 for the same reason. Yeah, that's kind of the pattern. A fuck ton of people will come forward accusing Donald Trump of rape, but like all of them end up getting bought off or threatened like with death. So, yeah.
I'm sure you've seen the disturbing footage of people in fatigues beating the Navy veteran.
No.
Well,
here you
it's
go.
there.
The fake news.
It's not fake news. It's on video.
For
pepper spraying
59
him.
days, these people were anarchists and agitators and some protesters, but these were anarchists.
Okay.
These people were beating the
Hey.
hell out of the city. They were
I, for one, am happy we're finally getting the national attention we deserve. Okay? That's what I'm saying, right? You know, for so many people, when they think anarchists, they think, what do they think of? They think of Mad Max, okay? You know what? We're bringing it to America 2020, okay?
were beating up our federal buildings and our federal courthouse.
Beating up our
We told
buildings.
the police to stop it. You make sure. And the police wouldn't do it. Not the police.
Your own Justice Department and Homeland Security Inspector Generals.
Excuse me.
But your Inspector Generals are
Excuse
investigating
me.
unconstitutional.
You're trying now to blame law enforcement instead of anarchists.
I'm
instead
not.
of Antifa.
I'm not.
It's Antifa and
Antifa.
anarchists that are causing the problems, not law enforcement. Our law enforcement, if we didn't have people at our courthouse, and they're strong, tough people, and they don't want, they try and be very good, believe me. But if we didn't have people there, you would have your federal courthouse, $600 million building, you would have that thing burned to the ground.
I'm asking you about tactics and about the unmarked vans where they're rounding people up. And I want
Okay, let me tell you
Can I
about
just finish my
unmarked.
question?
Well, let me tell you about
Could I just
unmarked.
finish my question because it relates to this?
Let me
I promise.
interrupt you so you never get a chance to ask a question and I can just ramble for the entire scheduled length of this interview. It's a lot easier for me that way.
This is from Rand Paul. Quote, "We cannot give up liberty for security. Local law enforcement can and should be handling these situations in our cities, but there is no place for federal troops or unidentified federal agents rounding people up at will." What is your response to Senator Paul?
First of all, these are Homeland Security people. They're securing a courthouse.
They're Border Patrol.
They're Homeland Security.
Elite units.
Border. Hopefully they have
Camo,
ice in there. Hopefully
gas
they have
masks.
ice. Now, do you know why they're unmarked? Because
Why?
these terrorists, these Antifa people, these people that are anarchists and agitators, when they see the name on a uniform of a person, a policeman, a law enforcement person, they find out where that person lives. And then they go and they scare the hell out of the person's family. And so they do it for that reason. It's just common sense. There's nothing.
Yeah, you know that whole, like, they project things on the eve of, like, guys, remember the ACLU suing to stop the DHS officials from live streaming the protests because they were deliberately zooming in on people's faces to try and get their them recognized?
Nothing secret about this.
Also, if you're a fucking police officer, fuck you. I don't care how fucking scared you are. You show your fucking badge, you show your number, you show your name. That's what you signed up for. That's the fucking law. I care way more about federal agents operating with impunity than I do about the conceivable threat of people seeing your name and retaliating in response. You know who else wears their fucking badge name and number? Military officers. Even out in the field, officers who wear their names, even though that makes them sniper bait because they're higher value targets than the regular rank and file next to them. And they do it anyway because it's their fucking job.
And you know it. You see it, what's going on right now. We have Chad Wolf. They have people. He's doing a fantastic job. He's the acting head. He's doing a fantastic job. Chad Wolf has pickets out, very dangerous looking people outside of his house. He's going to be just fine. He's tough and he's got people. But if you have the names on all of these uniforms, you'll have these maniacs in front of their houses scaring their family and their wives and or husbands, whatever it may be. I think it's a very good reason not to have your name. Why should you have
Nah, sorry, motherfucker. Nope, you signed up for it.
identification? My name is Bill Smith, and here's where I live. And
He's constructing a lie in real time too. He's like, what conceivable excuse can I think up of here? Well,
The really serious concern is
No,
the
that's
reports.
a
Not about
that's a
that.
serious
The serious
concern.
concern is the reports of people being rounded up and not being told why they're being detained. That's what's being investigated
Why?
by Mr. President. The
Why they're
inspectors
being
generals.
detained?
The inspectors
You know
generals.
why? You know why they're being detained? Well, yeah.
There's an investigation. Do you support that investigation?
Well, I haven't seen the result yet.
But do you
Let me see
support the
result.
initiative of it?
No, I think that actually,
You don't?
I think Antifa should be investigated, not the
No.
law enforcement. They're investigating.
They shouldn't be investigating.
Have you been watching television?
I have.
Have you been
He can't
seeing
answer
the
anything.
violence? And
Sure.
Now, if you watch NBC News, like I watch NBC fake news, I'm watching it, Lester Holt, real beauty, and I'm watching this NBC News sham, and you have a mayor named Wheeler, and he's standing out there, and he's being accosted by the people. You know that. I mean, it's horrible what they're doing to him. Portland, the mayor of Portland. And he thought he'd go out, he'd be what they were doing and saying and everything else to him. I happened to watch it on a different station. He had to get out. He had 5 security guards. He got out with his life. Okay.
Mr. President.
If you watch, you watch NBC News, they make him like he's standing there bravely fighting with the people in a positive sense.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Everything is wonderful. No. He went out there. He's lucky he got away with his life because they would have killed him. He had 5 guards, but NBC News showed it like he's standing with the people.
What is he
for
talking
justice.
about?
Look, those people. Take a look at what they've done to the courthouse. Take a look at what.
I know what happened when the mayor of Portland got tear gassed. I just don't know why he's talking about. Why?
They've done to the streets. Take a look at the violence.
It's getting worse since they've gone in.
No, actually, it's getting better. We had we've arrested a lot of people, and we now have a 10-year rule. You try and knock down our courthouse.
More businesses damaged, more violence.
You touch our courtpunishment, you go to jail for 10 years.
Turning to the rest of the country.
Very good violation of our constitutional right to reasonable punishment.
We haven't seen protests like this since the 60s. I mean, we're seeing...
These are Democrat
if I can finish my question.
cities.
If I can finish my question.
And they're doing it for political reasons.
You said you've done so much for African Americans.
I have.
But there are Americans...
Criminal justice
I understand.
reform, opportunity.
But let me finish. There are Americans out in the streets asking for change. Mr. President, have you ever met with a Black Lives Matter activist to hear them out, hear their arguments?
I am very confident if President Xi would just go out and meet with the Hong Kong protesters, everything could be solved. It could be fixed. Easy.
Well, Black Lives Matter started off, to me, very badly because it was...
Did you ever meet with one?
Pigs in a blanket,
answer.
Burn them like bacon. That was the first time I ever heard of black. That was 3-4 years ago.
Right.
Pigs, meaning policemen. Pigs is what they're referring to.
Oh shit! They're catching on to our code language.
In a blanket, fry them like bacon. I thought it was so. I got off to a bad start. I got off to a very bad start.
Would you meet with
meet
with a Black Lives Matter activist?
I would, but I think right now when they paint,
Why haven't you?
When they paint the sign, nobody's asked for a meeting. Right? Nobody's ever asked me for a meeting. Let me tell you, with African Americans, I'm doing very well. They had the best employment numbers they've ever had. They had the best job
every
numbers they've
time,
ever had.
every
They were
rally,
making
dude.
more money than they ever made. We were all set until we got hit by China with the virus. Jonathan, we were becoming a very unified country.
Do you believe
because of success?
I understand. Do you believe, though, Mr. President, that many police treat black people differently from white people?
Well, I hope not. I hope not. Certainly
You've seen the statistics.
The knee on the neck was a disgrace, okay?
Yeah.
That was a disgrace.
I'm talking about...
President Trump, welcome to the resistance. We got him.
What does systemic racism mean to you?
I hope the answer to that question is no. Does anybody really answer that question accurately?
But what
Does
about not
anybody
hope?
really know?
What about analysis? What's your cold-hearted
I have
view of it?
seen where there is a difference, and I don't want there to be a difference. I don't like that there would be a difference. But with that being said,
Why do you think black men are
police have
2.5
killed
times...
white people
I know, but why do you think black
in a
men...
larger number,
In quantity.
police have killed
I would give anything for him to 1350. Is he going to 1350? He might. There's always a chance. Anytime you bring up the existence of black people around a conservative, there is always a coin flip on whether or not they 1350 you.
white
But
people.
why do you think black men are 2.5 times more likely to be killed by police than white men?
That I don't know, but
Why? Why do you
I
think
don't
that?
like it.
But you must have thought
Why?
about it.
I don't know why, but I don't like it. I do know this.
Does it speak to
that
something
police
systemic?
have killed many white people also.
But proportionally, what does it speak to?
It speaks to something, if that's the number, you're telling
is the
me a
number.
number. Okay, if that's the number, it speaks to something that to me is unacceptable.
And what do you do about it then?
Well, I think we've already done a lot of
But you
things.
haven't. It still
Let
exists.
me just tell you.
No. I understand your achievements. I know what you're going to say. I'm not suggesting you haven't done a
I've
lot
done a thing
economically.
called criminal justice
I get it.
reform.
I'm just saying
that
what
your
changes.
friend President Obama couldn't
It's
get
not my
done.
friend.
He
I'm
tried,
asking about that
he
statistic.
tried, but he couldn't get it
I'm
done.
not-
I got criminal
I get
justice.
it. I get it.
I got
He
opportunities.
literally just can't
I took
answer.
care of the historically black. You know, if you look at what I've done for colleges, for black colleges and universities, I got them funding. Obama never did it. I did more for the black community than anybody, with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln. Whether you like it or not, people say, "Oh, that's
You really
interesting."
you believe you did more than Lyndon Johnson, who passed the Civil
I
Rights
think I
Act?
did, yeah.
How?
Because I got
Possibly did you just
What was their unemployment back in the 1960s? I bet it was higher than it is under me.
reform done. I got prison reform.
Lyndon Johnson.
I've done things. Well,
he passed the Civil Rights
ask,
Act.
how has it worked out? If you take a look at what Lyndon Johnson did,
You think the Civil Rights Act was a
How has it
mistake?
worked out? Because frankly,
How is the Civil Rights Act worked out? That's a great. Ooh, Trump, we're getting close. We're getting close, Trump.
it took a long time. But for African Americans,
But you
under
think that was a
my
mistake?
administration, Jonathan, under my administration, African Americans were doing better than they had ever done in the history of this country. So I did a lot. Job numbers, all of the money. They had money. They were getting great. Their percentage was up. Their housing ownership was up. They did better than they've ever done
I just don't
until
know
we
how
got
you
hit.
can-
And now, you know what we're doing? I'm building it up again. We're going to have it. Next year will be a great year, unless it's screwed up by somebody that doesn't know what he's doing, which could happen, but I don't think it will.
John Lewis is lying in state in the US Capitol. How do you think history will remember John Lewis?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know John Lewis. He chose not to come to my inauguration. He chose. I never met John Lewis.
That's the only thing he knows about John Lewis. That's the only piece of information he has in his head. He didn't show up at my birthday party. So naturally, I have no concerns for this person. He's an absolute child.
Actually, I don't believe.
Do you find him impressive?
I can't say one way or the other. I find a lot of people impressive.
He doesn't know anything
about
about John Lewis.
But I didn't go.
Do you find his story impressive?
He didn't come to my inauguration. He didn't come to my State of the Union speeches. And that's okay. That's his right. And again, nobody has done more
Right.
for
but back
black
to-
Americans than I have.
I understand.
He should have come.
But
I
back-
think he made a big mistake. I think he
But
should have
taking
come.
your relationship with him out of it, do you find his story impressive, what he's done for this country?
He was a person that devoted a lot.
He does. Oh, does he know any? Does he know that John Lewis was a civil rights activist? Like, let's.
A lot of energy and a lot of heart to civil rights, but there were
What do you think that behind the interviewer there's a guy with a sign? Like Trump did like a hand signal. I don't know John Lewis, and like somebody ran back and printed out like a picture of John Lewis and like civil rights activist. He did black stuff up in a sign. Trump I was like, oh, well, obviously he loved civil rights. He loved being black.
many others also.
There's a petition to rename
Hey, 10K viewers, nice.
the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama as the John Lewis Bridge. Would you support that idea?
I would have no objection to it if
Yeah.
they'd like to do it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Would have no objection to it whatsoever.
Mr. President, you've been so generous with your time, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Great honor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
A Biden presidency will hopefully be a return to the concept of satire. That's what I'm looking forward to the most, because it is presently impossible to satirize any of this. I can't. Like, what is my commentary supposed to be? He doesn't answer any questions. He only talks about himself, and he lies every time he tries to make a statement that's even remotely fact checkable. So what am I? So what, I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to say in response. I can just laugh. But frankly, when/if Biden becomes president, the idea of having a commander-in-chief who I can look at and watch and make fun of cogently and know that the world kind of gets what I'm going for, I'm going to look forward to that, you know? You know what I'm really looking forward to, my real big hope. My really big hope is that should Biden win, it'll be an opportunity for us to pull over salty Trump voters by criticizing the Democratic Party relentlessly, but then indicating them there's a way to be anti-Democratic Party without being a Republican. That's my main hope, I guess, that we can like, because we'll be like, wow, Biden sure is an incompetent blowhard. And then they'll be like, yeah, Trump 2024, until Trump inevitably dies in 2021 while like on the toilet or something. And then I'll go like, yeah, dude, the Democrat Party sucks, but I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm something else called an Antifa. I am an Do you know what an Antifa is? And they'll be like, terrorisms? And I'll no, we never liked Biden to begin with. We'll find a way, okay? That's the hope. That's the hope.